Hey folks, this is Topher with N Squared. In this video, I'm going to show you a number of reasons why you might have trouble uploading a plugin. Maybe like this. We'll look at what the reasons are and some possible solutions. The first one we're going to look at is if you're on WordPress.com. This is the hosted option of WordPress, which limits your ability to customize your site. And I'd like to point out there are a few other sites similar to this, but by and large, WordPress is the most common one. Let me show you what I mean. This is my WordPress site on WordPress.com. And on the left here, you can see I'm in the plugins area. And at the top, it says you need to upgrade to a creator plan to install plugins. Now, that doesn't mean I can't have any plugins. There are these down below that I can pay for individually. However, I'm not allowed to just arbitrarily upload one that I found on a website or on GitHub or I wrote myself, etc. So if you are on .com and you want plugins, you can either move to a different host or upgrade to a plan that allows plugins. The next reason is you may have a limited user role on the site. You simply may not have permissions. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Right now, I am logged in as an administrator and I have full plugins. However, if I were to switch to an editor, you'll see the plugins menu option simply isn't there. And if you tried to go there, you would get an error message. And that's all there is to it. So if you don't have these privileges, then there probably is a site owner or administrator somewhere that you can talk to about it. And either they can help you or they can increase your permissions. You could be exceeding the file upload limit. And for this, you'll probably need to contact your host. Now, this is the size of the file you're uploading. Now, if you go to plugins and go to add new, upload, it does not tell you here what the size is. However, if you go to media and add new media file, you'll see right here, maximum upload file size is 300. That maximum upload file size is the file size limit for this entire website, not just media or not just plugins. And each server is going to be a little different. So if you have a plugin that is 301 megabytes, you won't be able to upload it. If you really need it, then you need to talk to your host and have them increase the maximum upload file size. The reason it is usually set at any given point is that they're trying to control the size of storage on the server. So they may not want to make it really huge or anything. But if you need something just a little bit more, ask your host. You're exceeding the memory limit. This is another issue solvable by your host. However, there's a caveat here. First, let me show you how to find out what it is. If you go to your dashboard, there is a site health status box, and then there's a site health screen. And if you go to info, and then to server, you can come down and it will say, there's your PHP memory limit. And right now, mine is 256 megabytes. Now, you often run into the memory limit because a script is looping and it will use all the memory you give it. Now, if you truly just need a little more, if it says you get to 257 and it died, then they can help you. They can increase it, probably set it to 512. That's pretty common. But if your code has a problem and it simply is going to consume whatever you give it, then increasing this will not help you. So try to figure out why your code is using so much memory. I have personally never really seen a plugin that needed more than what was given. And all the problems I've ever seen came from an issue with the code. So if you need more memory, talk to your host, but I'm guessing you don't actually. Be sure to check your code. You're on a multi-site network. This can sometimes limit plugin installations to the network admins only. Usually the highest privilege level for WordPress is administrator, but multi-site has one called super admin. So I'm on a subsite right now. I have a plugins folder, and I can see that there are none available, but I can't add any here. That's because the super admin needs to go under network admin plugins and add them here. Now they can add a new plugin. Let's just add classic editor real quick. And now I'm going to go back to my subsite. And now you'll see that the plugin is there and active, but I can't deactivate it. I can't turn it off. I can't get rid of it. So plugins are managed exclusively by the super admin. Now that can be adjusted by a developer if you have need for that. But by and large, you should check to see if you're on a multi-site network. And one of the keys is right here up in the top left. My subsite is named multi-site. It could be anything. But if you have a My Sites icon, then you're probably on a network. Disabled plugin modification. The site owner can turn off the installation of plugins via the WordPress admin, which means you can install plugins with FTP, uploading them, but not through this little gadget. Now, if you want to turn that on, this is a page on simplyscheduledappointments.com that shows you that in wp-config.php, there is this line, disallow file mods true. So editing files is turned off. If you want to install plugins, you need to set this to false. But what's more important than knowing how to do this by far is why. Because it's rare to turn it off, which means there's almost always a good reason. So before you just log in with FTP or your panel or whatever and turn it back on, find the person who turned it off and find out why they did it. There might be a very good reason. You're uploading an unsupported file format. Plugins can only be uploaded as .zip files. Now, your operating system will help you with this. For example, I go to upload and my MP3 files, my JPEGs, WebPs, they're not clickable. Folders I can click on, but I can't upload any of these other things. And so if somebody sends you a plugin and it's a folder or something, you're not going to be able to install it via this interface. They have to be a zip file. That also means they can't be .gz files, which is gzip. They can't be bz2 files, which is bzip. They have to be .zip files. Syntax errors can happen from corrupted zip files. You may have to download the plugin zip file from the author's site again. This was the example I showed you when the video first started. You see alt.zip here? That's actually not a zip file. It's a copy of alt.html. So it's not a zip file at all. And so when I install or try to install it, it says no. And that's easy. I didn't break anything. It just doesn't work. Now this can happen also with things that are supposed to be legitimate zip files. Maybe something happened in your download, or who knows? Lots of things can happen to zip files. And you may simply just need to go to the source and get a new one. And lastly, you're uploading an invalid plugin. Contact the plugin authors. This is similar to what I did with that alt.zip file. It's not really a plugin. However, it's possible for someone to create a plugin and have everything be right. But if they get the headers wrong, that's the key. That the headers are the part that list this title, classic editor, and this description. If they get those wrong, then WordPress doesn't know what to do with it. So even though it's a zip file and there's a plugin inside of it, if the headers are wrong, then it's not a valid plugin. If that happens, contact the plugin authors. Or try it again. Maybe you clicked the wrong zip file or something. There are lots of zip files that are not plugins. So that's it. There's a whole bunch of reasons why uploading a plugin may not work, as well as ways to make them work.